Good day, everybody, and welcome to Minutes with Brett live on the Packard Network. And have you ever looked in the mirror after declaring you've been successful with something and asked yourself, what's my purpose in life? You're in possession of the things that you've worked really hard to get, but you suddenly wondered, why am I doing this? Well, you're going to love meeting my special guest today, Mrs. Ashley Lowe, who's in Singapore. She's from Singapore, and she'll do her own introduction in a moment. But just briefly, Ashley is currently a partner and chief impact investment officer at Global Green Connect, and Ashley has extensive experience in Asia, Australia, and spanning nearly 3 decades in financial services. And she has an MBA from the University of Bradford in the United Kingdom and a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. So I'm going to ask her about that, how she wound up in financial services in a moment. But without further ado, Ashley, welcome to the program. It's terrific to have you here.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for your introduction.
Yeah. Could you take just, I think I kind of covered all of your titles and your credentials and everything, but maybe just take a minute or two or 3, however long you'd like, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, just as you mentioning about, why do I want to be a civil engineer and turn into an MBA? And basically purely just vanity, because when I graduated as a civil engineer, every day I wear my boots. My first project as a trainee engineer, I go to crawling tunnel designing MRT underground station. And I was in London, England, working as a trainee engineer for Mott Hay and Anderson Consulting Engineers. And I was sharing an apartment flat with a lady which is trained to be accountant. So every day after work, I came home with muddy boots and big fat kind of waterproof jacket, and looking at her with leather shoes, leather handbag, and high heel shoes. Then I kind of looking at her and looking at myself and say, what am I doing as a civil engineer, right? And it's pure vanity. I just say, I'm going to do anything to get out of being a civil engineer. So that was how I went back to study MBA. And from that days onwards, after graduated, I went to banking line and never turned back to civil engineer. And I'm very happy. Continue wearing my high heel shoes and my handbags. Yes.
Yeah, so you must have been quite good with mathematics. And so that part must have been quite helpful getting into financial services then.
Yes. Numbers is my story. I look at numbers, it tells me story.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So 3 decades in financial services. I'm sure it's countless number of people that you've been able to help and impact their lives. What would you say was the most satisfying part of those 30 years to you personally?
Yes, I think from being young, as you first graduated, we strive, right? We want to achieve. Being Asian, being brought up by a very, very demanding mother, a very successful mother, I would say. It always tell us and teach us how to be successful. So was brought up in the family, always say success is measured by how much you can make, what cars you drive, what house you own, and all this matter, right? So when I was young, I was striving for it. So I was really climbing the career from an officer in the credit department, project financing, up to where I was as managing director of banks, right? Until suddenly with this COVID, and also partly also because of my own personal journey, working with my husband, battling cancer for 23 years, concurrently still holding my career, still striving, still not, I think it's very hard to change overnight. Partly because I'm also a very ambitious lady. I also want to strive and achieve success. And my mother has molded me to be somebody who wants to strive and to be successful in everything I do. So I'm like a little bit perfectionist. You can call me my husband, my son, kind of, call me tiger mom and tiger wife, right? So everything has to be perfectionist.
Right.
So
right. 23. Yeah. I just want to back up for a second. Your husband, 23 years battling cancer.
Yeah.
That's amazing. He must be an incredibly strong man.
Yes. And also very stubborn.
Okay.
Stubborn man,
and
right?
you, of course, are very strong and stubborn woman. So that formula, I mean, that must have posed a lot of challenges for both of you. But both of you are here today, right? I think that's an amazing part of your journey.
Yes. And I believe in every journey of our life, always like challenges of our life. Like, for example, my husband has been I was still working at the same time, taking care of him as a caregiver. But through that journey, we walked through a lot of roller coasters, like storms of life, like challenges, storms after storms. It's like walking in a maze. So when he was diagnosed stage 4 cancer 23 years ago, our son, Leonard, is only 9 months old, crawling the clinic when the news broke to us. And my husband just turned to me and said, I just have one wish. That wish is to see our son walking, because toddler, about 1 year old, they start toddling around. And that's all he made that wish, because that time when the doctor gave him the CT scan and showed that his cancer spread from nose to lymph nodes to 8 parts of the bone, all the body organs. So in that respect, he said, I'm not going to do any treatment. I'll just enjoy my life and watching our son crawling until he's walking. 3 months passes very quickly, right? Mm-hmm. And today, my son, 24 years old, and just got married, as he was walking down with my beautiful daughter, I wouldn't say daughter-in-law, I say daughter-in-love. I love her very much. Mm-hmm. And when they walked down the aisle with a daughter-in-love, and my eyes, and I just turned to my husband and say, Dad, your wish that you want to see your son walking, and now he's walking down the aisle with our daughter-in-law, right? So then we both kind of have tears. And of course, it's a long journey. And through this journey, we really found something so special in our heart, in our place, which we both was brought up in a very Chinese family, Taoist idolatry. And we found God through that amazing journey, because my husband was pronounced dead on the 4th relapse. He has 5 relapses in his journey. When he was pronounced dead, 4 doctors pronounced him dead. That's where all the doctors given up on my husband, but God did not. That's where we encountered God in a very special way. In a very special way. I learned how God is love, because God loves us. That's why he gives us a second chance to live, Brad. So when you're giving a second chance to live, and I will want to live life very differently. No longer tiger mom, no longer tiger wife, because then you look at things very differently.
Things have changed quite a bit with this, right?
Oh, very drastic. Yeah, right. Very drastic. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a wake-up call in life. It's like a wake-up call, right? When you go through certain storms of life, if you don't learn from it, it is like, it's there to strengthen you, to mold you, to become a better person, right? So if I were to believe what the doctors say, that my husband had 3 months, I probably will be like frustrated for 23 years of living in fear, not knowing when he's going to go, right? But instead, I focus on spending that one extra day. After 3 months, we're counting that extra day to be happy, to be the best of our lives. And then from there, I learned how not to nag over him on the small little thing, right? We don't have time to nag over the small little thing. I used to nag over simple thing, how he put the fork on the plate, how he put the socks in the shoes, and all that very unnecessary thing. It used to kind of matter to me, but now I just let it go, right? So the same here at our very door front, at our doorstep, COVID. Every day we're living in fear, globally, and people go through a lot of challenges, working from home, no dining, and family are spending more time together, and you can see the statistically, there's more domestic violence, there's more drinking in the house and getting alcohol, drunkard state. And you kind of see that in a way sad, because circumstances, we are dictated by the circumstances that everybody lock into the house, right? Then what do we do? Do we want to live in fear, or do we want to, just like for my journey with my husband, I choose to live not in fear, but to trust God that in every day I live that life to the fullest, yeah. And of course, after 25, 30 years, as you say, I'm like a veteran banker, from credit to investment banking to wealth management. All I do is really day in, day out, is really running on a treadmill without a stop button. You know how it's like, right? You step onto the treadmill, you just keep running and running and running. At the end of the year, you achieve the target. You say, hooray, I made it, right? Before you know it, reset button comes in.
Start from zero. Yeah.
Start again from zero. Let's do it
Right.
again, right? And you can keep going and going and going, because, and it will hit to a point that you run in exhaustion, and then suddenly you kind of like, what am I doing this? And this is my journey now, right? I think COVID has been an accelerating everything for my reflection. Not only because of my journey with battling as a caregiver to my husband, walking that journey and really enjoying this journey together. But at the same time, I think the COVID, working from home, it triggered all my reflection time and asking myself, what is really important? Do I want to work, earning a living, or do I want to serve a purpose? You know? So after 30 years, then I realized that when you see all this globally suffering, but it's no longer what you want to do for yourself. It's more of, what can I do, still in the financial line, to have an impact in the lives of others. For example, the role I'm in now in Global Green Connect is really impact investment. My role is really identifying, say, out of 10 or 20 startup, you have to find the winning horse. You know, you have to bet the right horse, that kind of thing. You have to identify, do the due diligence. You have to be good in numbers. You have to really deep dive into the number and see, is this a winning horse? So that's what I'm doing with my partner, Christine, such a beautiful business partner I have, God has given me. So she run the incubator, like having a deal flow coming through the platform. So being banker background with number person, I will be sourcing the deals and identifying which one will be the next unicorn, right? And also want to mentor all the young entrepreneurial startup that in every business I choose will be and impactful in the life of others. For example, one of my friends is doing this call center. The call center is set up to hire prisoners in Singapore while they're still in the Changi prison, so that when they are in the prison, they still can provide financial for their family. So this is something really—
That's incredible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said, wow, that is so beautiful, right? But of course, if you were to compare that return on ROI in terms of return of investment as compared to Blackstone, BlackRock, of course, it's much lower. But the thing is, you feel good about it when you put your money there. You really feel that even though it's lower return, but it makes you feel that little heart just palpitating there, say, yes, this is so good, right? So yeah. I want to, that is a major twist and turn of my career, and really start looking at that last year when I was still in my bank in the ESG forum. Then I start studying, learning it, and then I realized that I want to turn my work as instead of just learning, earning as a living, to serving a purpose, right? And that's one of the main trigger of my my kind of switching of totally different role. But I'm very, very happy. I'm really, really excited about this role, because it gives me a lot of opportunity to mentor the young entrepreneur, the startup. I feel like really a mentoring mother to. It started off with my son, actually. I wanted to mentor my son, investing, teaching him how to be a good steward, because God taught us when you are blessed much, much is required of you. So I wanted to show my son, I said, son, this is what I want you to do to leave a legacy, right? It's no point just going to the workforce and earn a living and just achieve the bottom line. And no matter how it works, profitability is the only bottom line pressure in the world organization, in the world business world we are in. So I wanted to kind of leave him a legacy to know that it's okay to make money, but even better if we can make money and that can impact in the lives of others. And that is sustainability, right? The SDG goals of ESG is environmental, social, and governance. So, and even in this SDG goals, there's so many pillars: poverty, wellness, climate change, all this social goal. So to me, I feel that in this world now, especially COVID situation, we need to really rise up to help a lot of startup, because a lot of businesses are going to transform. And also the technology space is taking change of landscape. And people like me, my son always will laugh at me, say, Mom, you're a digital dinosaur, I'm a digital dinosaur, right? But yet I say, I have to make an effort to learn it. It's never too late, even when you're 60, Brad, right? I mean, I'm not ashamed to tell everyone how my age. But at the same time, I think if I don't choose to learn, I'll be irrelevant into the world. Yeah, because I experienced one going to a restaurant. They don't take cash. They don't take credit card. They only do PayLah e-wallet, and I don't have one. So when my son said, you got to put your e-wallet into your iPhone, I said, no, I don't trust putting credit card in my iPhone. So I end up not being able to pay for my lunch with my friend. Yeah, so I said, my son is right. I have to be, going to that kind of, so this is my transition state, time of my career. And I'm really looking forward to it. But at the same time, quite exciting about the new chapter of my life, to be able to really mentor the young entrepreneur to rise up with the skill set we have going through banking. Brad, we have been banking like long time, right? That's how we know each other a decade ago. But yeah, God is good. We are reconnected.
That's right.
And we're just like chatting away, and then with the whole world watching us, our conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that there are people around the world that are deeply inspired by what you've had to say so far. Ashley, talk a little bit about maybe the last subject before we run out of time on COVID.
Yeah.
When COVID happened, it did and still does, unfortunately, impact many people worldwide, right? It's created a lot of volatility, not just in markets, but in lives, right? And can you walk us through briefly how you take that situation, right, where there are people, there are more domestic issues, more drinking, other things like that have happened, and in this volatile world that we live in, how do you view that, and how do you think that should be dealt with?
Okay, for me, because of my own journey, right? I'm going through storms after storms with 5 relapse cancer. So I've been living in the world of volatile. I would call it VOCA, my colloquial language. VOCA means volatile, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. My whole journey walking with my husband has been VOCA, right? Because every day I wouldn't know whether my husband would still be alive. But every day I wake up and I say, thank God he's still alive, right? It is volatile. It is uncertain. It is complex. Cancer is the most complex things in the world, right? Especially you don't know which part of the organ it may lodge itself. And ambiguity is really, you don't know what's next. You always just pray, right? I mean, I become very prayerful because of my own situation. The same thing, bring back to COVID, right? And COVID, we are facing now with COVID. What has COVID brought to many of us, right? Really working from home, no dining out, and no entertainment, no social, and no traveling. And even Australia now, we just announced today lockdown, and these are the thing as great division, a lot of anxiety, anger, because when you divide, and the Victoria and the New South Wales saying, why can't I get into the domestic border? We're all Australian. And I'm sure you heard about a lot of Australians stranded in India, right? They couldn't come back because of the COVID. So COVID has created a lot of fear. Every country is looking into fear. And you can see the fear has divided a lot of people, even our neighbors, right? The minute you're going near to them, they kind of like try to dodge away from you. And this world we're living, which is really, really sad, because God is love. To me, is I always believe in love can conquer all, right? Because love sustains everything. And to me, that all this involved around the world, right? Our mindset has to change, because if we do not change the mindset, you will be embraced by the fear every day at your doorstep. How do you handle the fear? The fear is not going to bring you to unity. The fear is going to create a lot of tension in the family. The fear is going to create a lot of stress. And that's why recently, I don't know about America and Singapore and Australia, have the highest domestic violence and suicidal rate has really rocketed. Why? Because we have spent more time in the family, right? Working in a very claustrophobic space environment. And yet, if we choose to look around, turn around and look at it, that instead of saying that, why are we working from home? Then we can say, oh, isn't it wonderful to be able to work from home? I can still spend time with my children, having lunch with them, have a break. I don't need to dress up and go out and things like that. But instead, we keep focusing on the things and make it so negative. So I think in all, right, COVID has been a major fear factor in all our lives. So to me, I think we have to change and embrace everything, and just have to change our mindset to embrace everything and to be able to just walk out and not be fearful, because in the Bible say that our number of days are numbered. For my husband, pronounced dead by 4 doctors and resurrected alive. So I'm really walking that journey, knowing that it is not up to us, really. But as long as we have second chance to live, I think it's important to live a life with a purpose, to have impact in the lives of others. And I want to share this story with you, with the grandson, with grandpa, walking through the seaside. And as the waves come and the 1,000 seashells on the beach, the grandson keep picking it up and throw it back to the sea. And to him, he just wants to save that seashell. But the grandpa told the son, grandson, it's no point, my dear. It's not going to work. Every time you throw one in, 1,000 is on shore. And then the grandson pick up one and show to the granddad. Granddad, it makes a difference to this one. He throw it back. And that engraved in my heart. It doesn't matter. I cannot save the world, right? But I think everything we do, if it mattered to that one life and that one person, I think it means a lot to God, because God loves everyone. It's just that sometimes we're too stubborn, like my husband has to go through death, to experience death, to encounter God's love, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. What an inspiring story and way to conclude this. I think a wise advice from the grandson, definitely.
Correct.
In that case as well. So, Ashley, I'd like to really thank you for joining us today and sharing such an inspiring maybe life journey is the proper word for this, a way to describe it. The journey that you and your husband and your family have been on is truly amazing. It's inspirational. And you've talked about in our discussion how you've been able to get through this and continue to live and prosper in your life. And I think that you're speaking about how purpose has guided you in making adjustments along the way, and your faith has been center to all of this. I think it's just a wonderful, a wonderful 20 minutes. And you certainly have inspired me, as you do every time that we speak. And I really, on behalf of everybody watching this, really thank you for taking the time to share your personal story with us, Ashley. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. I would like to finish one short scripture about
absolutely.
love. Yeah, it is 1 Corinthians 13. If I have faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I will, even if I give away everything to the poor, I have not love, but I gain nothing. So love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always persevere. Love never fails. So this is a message I want to share with audience. In all circumstances, love with all your heart, with courage to face this COVID, because COVID is not going to go away. So if you have instilled this love in you everywhere, because COVID has bring a lot of division in community, in family, in everything. So I always believe that love conquers all. And love is always there to unite the family, everyone, nations to nations, and in every way we do, and have courage to face this unknown factor, the VUCA that we're living in, right? Because I've been living 23 years VUCA with my husband. So
yes, you have.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. Good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Ashley. And I'm sure that there are thousands of people that ultimately will see this, that will benefit from those that wise guidance that you've given. So thanks very much, Ashley. And
thank you, Brad.
And to those of you watching, hopefully you've heard a great deal from Ashley's life journey about how you should not let fear dictate and run your life. You can certainly deal with it, and she's given you a lot of ideas on how you can deal with that under the most adverse conditions. So Ashley, thank you very much. All the very best continued years of life, love, and happiness to your husband, to your congratulations on your son's recent wedding down in Australia, and all the best to you and your new business venture. And here's to many more years of prosperous living. So thank you, Ashley, for that. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody, please join me next week. The cameras are going to be moving up from Singapore to Tokyo, Japan, where I will have a fascinating individual to introduce you to, and more on that next Tuesday. But until then, I look forward to seeing you again soon on the Packard Network. Thanks very much.